pretty commonly present and pretty commonly known, right? So every week we have Shabbat, right? And that is our day of rest. Maybe some of us follow that diligently, maybe some of us not so much. And that's why we belong to a Reformed synagogue. We get to make those choices of what works for us. But it is really the fourth of the 10 commandments, right? It is the fourth commandment that says, you know, you are commanded to rest your body, stop working, right? And so I'm gonna just turn it over to Amy because I have a lot more to say as we move to our practice today, but I want her to have an opportunity to share a little bit of some amazing, the magic of Hebrew and Hebrew words and that connection, as well as give us a little bit more biblical history on the idea of rest beyond what you currently probably already know.
Thank you, Amy. Good morning. Well, actually, it's good afternoon, everybody. It did just turn past 12. So it's good to see you all. And I'm actually going to ask if you can mute because I'm hearing an echo. Are you able to mute everybody, Amy? Thank you. All right, so a brief word about rest. As Amy mentioned, most of us or all of us are familiar with the idea of Shabbat. And we read in the story of creation in the book of Genesis. Some of you may be familiar with a paragraph that is sung during the Kiddush, during the blessing over the wine on Friday night. I won't sing the whole thing, but it starts off with, Vayechulu hashamayim v'haaretz v'chol tzevam. That's the paragraph, and in that it says, Uvayom hashvi'i shavat vayinafash. And on the seventh day, God rested. So I'm going to share my screen with you just so you can see what that looks like in the Hebrew. So you see the word vayinafash, which is where my cursor is moving. And if you can look at the word underneath of it, you'll notice there's the word nefesh, which is 3 letters, the nun, the fe, and the shin. Nefesh means person, and it also is related to one level of our soul. Jewish tradition teaches, depending on which rabbi you're reading, that there are 3 levels to our soul or 5 levels to our soul. That's for another class. But for right now, the first level of the soul is nefesh, right? So it's this sense of we can connect to our soul by resting. The other place where rest appears, which I think is less well known, is relationship to the land. We are told in the book of Leviticus that every 7th year, the land needs a rest. And that word is called Shemitah. And during that resting year, debts are forgiven, the land is not allowed to be worked. So if we think about this idea of rest, not only for the person, but also for the land, some of you may be thinking, wow, that sounds familiar and timely, right? So fortunately, we are not having a pandemic every 7 years, thank God. But the idea of the earth really needing to rest and able to replenish herself is a very important Jewish value. So just wanted to draw in a few connections of Shabbat and resting. Vayinafash is the Hebrew, nefesh, connecting it to our soul, and then connecting ourselves to the land and the responsibility we have to take care of Mother Earth. Thank you, Amy. Ready to start.
That was fabulous. Thank you so much, Amy. And so there's one other little Hebrew word connection that Amy and I talked about that I know we don't have it in print, but I'll attempt to mention it. So she was saying how there's many words for the name soul, right? For the a Hebrew word for the name soul. So we also have neshama, right? Neshama means soul, and I love this because nashima, just one character different, nashima means breath. Nashima means breath, right? So it's like the soul and the breath are so connected. So we're going to begin our practice today with the breathing exercise. And then we're going to move through a physical practice. So I'm just going to kind of plant this little seed for you here. I know for myself, when this quarantine, the pandemic sort of really, came to fruition for myself, when it was like, okay, we're staying home. And it was like, my first reaction is, what am I going to do with myself? What am I going to do with myself? Like, I'm used to teaching 12 classes a week and going here and there and staying so busy. Well, the idea here, I believe this great pause that we're experiencing is almost like the universe's way, or God's way, of creating a forced rest for this incredibly hectic and busy world that we live in. It's like, put on the brakes, take a rest, take a pause, right? And so what does rest or not being busy feel like or mean to you? And I was just saying to Amy before we started that, that idea of like, what am I going to do with myself? And then I realized that rest doesn't mean to sit down and do absolutely nothing, right? Although we could do a restorative practice, but we are going to move somewhat, because I think that taking it easy or resting just really means not doing work. So if you're not doing work, but you're not sitting still and doing nothing, in fact, that maybe you're actually just doing what you enjoy, right? You're doing what feels good. So hopefully many of you have tapped into some hobbies or found some new ones. Maybe you're reading, maybe you're gardening, and gardening may seem like work, but if you love it and you find it restful and peaceful and enjoyable, then I think that is restful. All right. So we're going to start out in Sukhasana. I think we are all muted now. Yes. All right. So we're going to start out in Sukhasana. And Sukhasana is seated cross-legged position. I'm going to sit myself back here. And just so you know, I'm going to angle my camera slightly. I think I have my mat in a T formation. And the reason I have my mat in a T formation is simply so that I have the ability to shift the position of my body to show you different angles of different poses in case you need a really good view, a really good visual. But that doesn't mean that you have to change. So if I'm like vertical or I'm horizontal, just listen to my cueing and use my vision as an opportunity to see some of the nuances of the pose. All right, good. So I see it highlighted so that my video is pinned. And I want you to start with your eyes closed. You can choose to have your palms down or your palms up. We're going to begin with that nashima, that breath. There is a practice of breathing technique, pranayama in yoga, and it is also known in English as square breathing. In Sanskrit, it is samavriti breath. So start by noticing your natural breathing first before you begin to control it. Right. Maybe notice based on how you're feeling today. The breath is so connected to the soul. Right. That whole nashima, nashama. It's an indicator of how we feel. Right. Notice if your breath is choppy or short or shallow, or maybe long and smooth and comfortable and deep. Let it be an indicator of how you feel without judgment. Breathing in and out of the nose preferably. If you are congested for some reason, know by all means that you can breathe in and out of the mouth. It usually tends to cause a little bit more dryness in the mouth. So recommend it in and out through the nose. Good. We're going to start with a count of 3 on an inhale and 3 on an exhale, right? The samavriti actually means a balanced breath, right? So the inhale and the exhale are of the same length. So take a nice breath into a count of 3, 2, 1. and then let it back out. 3, 2, 1. Let's just do 2 cycles like that. Inhale, 3, 2, 1. Exhale, 3, 2, 1. Let's see if we can take it a little deeper. And when you get to the top, I'm just going to go up by 1 level to a 4. If you need to stay at a 3, then you can stay at a 3. But when you get to that 4th, I want you to hold the breath. So inhale, 4, 3, 2, 1. Hold the breath for 4, 3, 2, 1. Exhale it back out. 4, 3, 2, 1. And pause on empty. 4, 3, 2, 1. We're going to stick with that pattern. If 3 or even 5 feels more comfortable for you, then do it in a slower or longer pace. We're going to do about 3 or 4 cycles together. So inhale, 4, 3, 2, 1. Hold and pause. 4, 3, 2, 1. Exhale. 4, 3, 2, 1. Pause on empty at the bottom. 4, 3, 2, 1. Inhale. 4, 3, 2, 1. Hold. 4, 3, 2, 1. Exhale. 4, 3, 2, 1. Pause. 4, 3, 2, 1. Take the last one on your own. Good. After your pause, come back to natural breathing. Maybe even take 1 good sigh and release breath. Full inhale through the nose. Open the mouth, let it out. Just notice how you feel, right? So the Samavriti breath is known for its element of creating calm in the nervous system, calm across the body. And so we're going to begin to move a little bit more through our body. So I want you to lean back into the hands enough to straighten the legs out in front of you. And then sit up tall again, right? So this stance is called a staff pose, right? Or Dandasana. And so Dandasana would be a little bit more aggressive. So I want you to kind of keep it softer, maybe a little bend in the knees, maybe the feet are a little wider, right? So often we come to Dandasana with this real active energy where the legs are straight and the feet are flexed. So I want you to give a little bit of space and a little soft bend in the knee, especially if the hamstrings are really tight, right? If the hamstrings are really tight, you can actually literally pull the knees up a little bit and keep this level of bend the whole time. That would be really, really restful, all right? So I want you to bring your arms up with an inhalation, right? And start to get some length in each side of the body. So just stretching and reaching, maybe kind of wavering back and forth a few times. Just let that stretch feel really good. Take another inhale here. And as you exhale, we're going to fold in. It's called Paschimottanasana. And Paschimottanasana is a forward fold. Right, so see how passively you can fold here. Can you let the head go? Maybe even let the feet flop open. Let the chin come down to the chest. And perhaps instead of a traditional Paschimottanasana where we usually kind of almost aggressively work to reach the feet, hands toward the feet, just let the palms turn upward and let the fingertips soften. Let the head hang low and feel the stretch in the back of the neck. Relax the shoulders, right? Just see what you feel and breathe. I want this practice to feel like something that feels good, right? Rest doesn't mean do nothing. It means do what you enjoy. Make it restful and yummy. One more really good breath here. And then exhale it out. Slowly start to walk the hands up the sides of the body. Roll the spine upright. And then we're going to take that left leg and we're going to bend the knee and let that knee open wide. Okay, so totally different sensation coming here. I want you to feel what it feels like to have one external rotation on a hip and one internal rotation on the opposite hip, that leg extended. Maybe it allows you to straighten that leg a little bit more, right? This is called Janu Sukhasana, or like a half butterfly fold. On an inhale, reach your arms up. Get a nice amount of length again. Maybe start to activate that straight leg in front of you a little bit more. Take a really good breath in. And as you exhale, hinge and fold. Hinge and fold. Oh, good. So again, not necessarily trying so hard to reach that foot. I like holding on to my ankle, right, or my calf in the lower part of my leg, even though I can reach my foot. How can you soften here? How could you find rest? Right? Rest is actually so needed for the soul. Yeah. And it is actually commanded upon us. Why is it that often if we don't feel like we're staying busy, then we don't feel like we're productive? Right? When we give ourselves the opportunity to rest, then perhaps when work time arrives, we can be more productive. Good. And then just lift the head up. Good. And see if you can take that left hand to the outside of that right calf or ankle, or if you easily reach the foot, if it's not a struggle, you can hold on to that foot, right? And then take that right arm and sweep it out to the right and take a nice stretch, right? So if this feels like it's too much, maybe you back up, sit up a little taller and hold on to the outside of the knee joint. That might feel better. Look over that right shoulder. Ah, good. Breath in and breath out. Give me one more really good inhale. And as you exhale, bring that right arm back and around. Make an X with your arms and fold in again. Bring your chin down to your chest. Maybe slide down deeper. Maybe holding on the opposite sides of that foot, right? So that right hand is holding on to the inner part of the foot and the left hand, the outer part of the foot. Good. And then we're going to use our breath to rise back up. So breathe your soul. Inhale, roll up, uncross the arms, sweep them out and up, lift the heart, look up. And exhale, hands come to the heart. Good. Pause here. And then switch sides, straightening through the left leg, maybe shaking them out a little, windshield wiper a little if you need. Let's give a little love to the opposite hip. So bend the right, open it out, right? Find your sitting bones, find your good tall spine, engage that left leg, hands to the heart center. Good. On an inhale, reach the arms up, breathe and stretch. And exhale, hinge at the hips and fold, right? And notice your tendency to want to get to those toes or those feet. Can you try to just be present to what is and enjoy the experience, right? Like, where do you see and feel the sensations? Where is it pleasurable for you? And if it is not pleasurable, how can you back out or change or adjust the pose so that it does feel good, right? Let your head go. Make sure your breathing is filling and soothing your soul. And then we're going to take that right hand to the outside of that left leg, right? It could be calf or ankle or maybe the foot. Left arm reaches out to the left. Take a big inhale. As you exhale, reach it back behind you. Maybe backing up or maybe hold it onto the foot. Take what feels good. Yeah. Just breath in and breath out. One more. And then bringing that hand back across. Make the X with the arms. Holding on to opposite sides of that foot or leg, chin to chest, pulling the middle back backwards slightly, and just breathe, let the head go. Feel that really amazing stretch in the spine. Nicely done. And then slowly, slowly release the arms, sweep them out and up, roll the spine back up, arms reach up. And exhale, hands down by your side, lifting that leg up, straightening back out. Good, make the feet nice and wide, and then just windshield wiper, right? Roll through the hip, so like the whole femur bone is shifting. And bend those knees, and we're going to transition into a child's pose. So come on to hands and knees for starters, right? And then you can just pull the hips back toward the heels, rest the head on the floor, and just pause there. Just take a peek, see how you're doing. Beautiful. Now, child's pose is not always available for everybody, okay? So I'm going to model an option, right? If child's pose feels like too intense on your knees or your hips, you can come into puppy pose, which would just be coming from table, right? And just kind of pulling the hips back a little bit, and keeping either your forearms down, right? Or just keeping the hips more over the knees than they are over the heels, right? That's an option for something not quite as intense. Take what feels good. If child's pose feels good to you, really sink the hips down and rest the body. So good, right? So see and feel the changes, right? The changes that are going on in your body, the changes that are going on in our universe right now, in our world that we know, right? Can you see maybe there's a little less pollution? Maybe there's a little more downtime, right? The slow nature of life, perhaps the quality time that you're finding for yourself or your family. Good. And then from child's pose, lift those hips up and come into a table pose. Right, so in table pose, wrists are underneath the shoulders, and then just a gentle rocking forward and back. Just a gentle forward and back, right? So just see how the wrists feel, see how the knees and hips feel, right? Pulling up from the pit of the belly. Maybe just hips over to the right and over to the left a few times. See how that outer hip feels. The next time the hips go to the right, look over your left shoulder. Oh, one of my favorite little like C-shaped stretches. And then come back to center, hips over to the left, look over your right shoulder, like you're looking toward that foot behind you. Your body's creating a C shape, a nice outer hip stretch. And then come back to center. And then we're gonna take that left leg, straighten it back behind you, and lift it up and pull it back over to the left. Right, so that it's coming perpendicular out of your body. Look at your toes and see if you can try to get the toes to point straight ahead. Right, so you're in a half table and half wide leg extension. And then I want you to start to rock the hips back again, right? Just maybe a few inches, right? See that how it feels on the inseam of that left leg. It's a big stretch here. Right, maybe forward and back a few times. Yeah, right, for me, it's like deliciously inviting. Right, and if you're able to, right, be your own best judge, your own best teacher here, you can actually pull the hips all the way back to the heels and let those left toes pop up and let the head come down again. Big, big stretch, not only in the inseam of the left leg, but the back of the hamstrings, the back of the calf, and even maybe the fascia of the foot, right? Big stretch on the quad on the right side. Reach the arms forward as the hips go back. Good, and then with an inhale, rise back up. Good, and then walk your hands toward that right knee. And see if you can rise up to a standing position on that shin. Yeah, good. Bring your hands to your hips. Find your breath. Beautiful. Right, so I'm personally a big fan of stretching my body because I know it makes me feel so good. On an inhale, reach the arms up. Right, as you exhale, lower that left hand down that left leg. Take a nice breath in. As you exhale, lean the body toward that left leg. Stretch that side body. Good. Breath in and breath out. So beautiful. Right, it's just magic concept that the breath is connected to the soul. If you remember last week, we talked about the breath being like the ineffable name of God, right? Yud Hey, Vav Hey. Every breath connected to the soul, connected to God. As you inhale, lift that left arm up. And exhale, bring that right hand to the right hip and just lean over to the right. Now this may be enough for some of you, right? This is a big stretch on the opposite side. If you feel like you're able to, you can release the hand from the hip, bring it to the floor, lower down and stretch even more. That's a much, much bigger stretch. So take it if it feels good, right? This is called gate pose. Yeah, breath in and breath out. And if you were craving a little more, right, you could lift that left foot up off of the floor, really creating a lot more dynamic stretch. If it feels like work and you're stressing, don't do it. If it feels yummy and inviting and restful and playful and fun, then do it. Lower the foot down if it's elevated. Inhale, arms come back up. And exhale, hands come back to the floor. Good. Bring that left knee back underneath the hip. And pull yourself back to child's pose. This time, bring the palms together to touch. Bend the elbows and see if you can bring the hands toward the back of the head. Right? So, right, if you bring the hands like the thumbs actually come toward the nape of the neck, the elbows are on the ground. Right? See how that feels. It's a nice stretch for the tricep muscle. Good. And if you want a little more here, you can actually walk the elbows forward more and draw the hips back more, rest the head more. Take the time to breathe here, at least one more full cycle. Yeah, good. And then slowly lift the hips away from the heels, come back to table. And we extend our right leg straight back behind us. Shift it over to the right. Toes are pointing forward, and we just start that little sequence on the opposite side. So a little forward and back rocking. Right, so I always say, feel that yummy stretch, but it might not be yummy for you. What's yummy for me might not necessarily be yummy for you. I feel this amazing, right, inner groin, inner thigh, inseam of the leg stretch. And if you're able to, and if it feels good, bring the hips back toward the heels, let the toes pop up, let the head come down. So it's like half child's pose and half leg extension, right? So just breathe here, enjoy the stretch, inhaling and exhaling. And then when you're ready, rise back up, walk the hands toward the body, strong in the core, and bring yourself up to hands on hips, right? Check your alignment here. Right? So you want to know that right leg is right hip and knee and ankle all in one straight line. Is coming out perpendicular from the body, and the hips are pointing forward. On an inhale, reach your arms out and up. Gathering up all that goodness in your breath. Big, big breath. Inhale. As you exhale, right hand comes down the right leg and we lean to the right. Just breathe. Mm-hmm. So good. So how do you take that fourth commandment into your life? Right? You have the choice of what works for you always. Yeah. With an inhalation, lift that right arm up to meet the left, bringing that left hand down to the hip, and slowly start to lean over to the left. Right? So when we don't anchor the hand, we have to work this core pretty strong here, but maybe this feels like it's enough for you. If you're able to, you could release the hand from the hip, lower the fingertips or the palm down to the floor, and really get a full-on stretch across that whole right side body. Good. So no pose is ever worth losing your breath over, right? If you're struggling to breathe, that would not be something that's restful. So if you're struggling to breathe, back out or back off completely. Nice. All right, maybe if you did it on the first side, you're gonna float that leg up because that feels fun and playful, right? Like I actually like gardening, digging in the dirt. Good, lower that foot down, use the strength of your core to rise back up. And hands come back down to the floor. Right knee comes underneath right hip. Pull yourself back to child's pose. Rest the body. This could be a wide knee child's pose or a close knee child's pose. Good. Breath in and breath out. You guys look so good. I love having a little window in to see your beautiful bodies. Your beautiful attention to this practice. Yeah. So good. So Shabbat teaches us how to rest, and yoga teaches us how to rest. Good. Maybe one more breath here. And then slowly walk your hands towards your knees, sit up onto your heels. This is hero's pose, right? So if this feels like it's too much, right, you could come to standing on your shins like this if this felt like it was too much, or you could just keep the hips down to the heels, or you could even sit on a block or a bolster. If you have an option of a block or a bolster, you can just put it up underneath and sit on that. Or if this is bothering your knees altogether, like if you were thinking, oh my goodness, is she kidding? My knees are killing me. You can always sit on your tush. Okay, hands come to heart center. On an inhale, reach the arms up. On an exhale, arms out like wings. Good, turn the palms to face upward. Good, activate those tricep muscles. With a little action to support the arms, support the shoulder joint. Good, big breath in. Exhale, turn the palms to face down. Good. Like this is like looking at magic to me. Inhale, roll the arms up. Look what your body can do. Maybe you turn the palms slightly more toward the back of the room. And exhale, turn the palms down again. And this time, roll it a little further. Maybe the backs of the hands toward the back of your room and the thumbs down. Inhale, roll the palms up. And keep rolling and circling palms toward the back of your space. Exhale, roll the palms down, and then maybe the shoulder joint rolls a little bit more, and the palms actually come back up toward the ceiling. Right? We have miraculous bodies. Inhale, arms reach up and palms up. Maybe thumbs start to point down. Last time, roll. See if the little increments create more and more space. Good. Palms continue to face back behind you. Bring and interlace the hands back behind you. So I'm going to turn sideways so you can see, right? So for starters, keep the hands on the lower back. You can even bend the elbows if you need to, right? Or you can lengthen through the arms and the elbows, squeeze the shoulder blades, get a nice stretch. Some of you might be able to get those knuckles toward the toes, right? It all depends on your anatomy. So if you have really short arms, and you might not get there. If your shoulders are really tight, the shoulder girdle is tight, you might not get there. So don't feel like it's a place you have to go. Do it if it feels good. Look over your left shoulder, draw your knuckles to the right. Take a nice stretch on the top of that arm and shoulder. And draw the knuckles to the left, look over the right shoulder. Good, come back to center. Lift the head up, lift the chin up, maybe lean back a little further, maybe knuckles come to the floor. Lots of maybes going here. Open the front of the throat, and then come back to neutral. Lead with the heart, bringing the head back down to child's pose. Maybe the arms come up and away. If you're able to, you could try here for a rabbit pose. That means that the hips would lift up away from the heels. You rock a little bit on the top of the head, and the arms would come up and away further. Right, if that doesn't feel good, just stay here in a soft and relaxed child's pose with the arms behind you, elbows soft. Good. And then release the arms, reach them forward, and then I want you to take your knees and walk them back behind you and come onto your belly. Come onto your belly. Yeah. All right, so come into crocodile pose. So bend the elbows, stack the palms, let your forehead rest here. So the forehead is resting on the top of the back of the hand. So in case anybody can't see it, I'm gonna come closer to the screen, right? So it would look like this. Yeah, it would look like this. Good, rest the head, soften the body. Beautiful. That is crocodile pose. And from here, we're just gonna lift the head up and then slide the palms so they're in front of the mat, in line with the elbow. Come into Sphinx pose, right? So the elbow is underneath the shoulder. And then we have an opportunity to open the heart space a little, stretch. There should be a big sensation in the spine here, right? In the thoracic spine. So if it feels like it's too much, here's a really nice and restful option. Can you let your chin come down to your chest, but you're still gently pushing the palms and the forearms down into the mat. So there's an incredible stretch in the back of the neck here. Good. Right, and if you choose to, you can keep the chin lifted and get a deeper sensation in the thoracic spine, a bit more widening across the collarbone, what feels good for you. Good. And then slowly widen the elbows, slide the hands out like wings, and turn your head to the left so your right ear is on the mat. Your right ear is on the mat. Good. Just take a couple of breaths there. Notice how you feel. Okay, we're going to give a big loving stretch to our shoulder and to our spine here. So take your left hand, bend the elbow, and bring the hand closer to the chest. Like it's going to be right underneath the shoulder. Okay? Bend your left knee, foot up to the ceiling, and then you're going to start to roll onto your right side. Right, roll onto your right side. Then you're going to take that left foot and bring it to the floor behind your right. If that is too much, right, you could always keep it in the front. Here, I'm modeling here, right? If it's too much behind you, and if it's too much on that right arm, you can always slide the right arm down closer to your body. But ideally, if we want to get a good stretch in that shoulder joint, we have that right arm perpendicular to the body. So it's coming straight out. Yeah. All right. So option to take it deeper. Be a little more playful. Maybe taking that left arm, reaching it up and wrapping it around your back. That would be like, whoo, I enjoy a good walk. Maybe I feel like I'm going to take a brisk walk today, fresh air. And if you want a more mild stroll, keep the hand in front of the chest for support. Make sure you're breathing. Yeah. And we're coming out of it slowly. So if the hand is bound behind you, unravel that hand first. Support yourself, bringing that left knee back down and around, coming back to the belly, extending the left arm out, turning the head to the right so the left ear is now on the mat, right? Left ear on the mat, arms out like wings. And breathe. Good. Slowly building the pose on the opposite side. Bend the right hand, place it underneath the shoulder. Bend the right knee, foot up. And then start to push and roll onto the right side of your body, bringing that right foot to the floor behind you. It's a big shoulder stretch. Oh. Right, so physically, our bodies crave movement. Right, we have this incredible build-up of fascia and thickening and tightening of the fascia in our body. If we don't move and stretch and breathe, it gets stiff and stuck and stagnant. So how do you create a restful energy in your body? One that feels nourished. Maybe you take it deeper and that right arm wraps up and around. Or maybe you stay with the hand in front of you for the support. Give me one more breath. Nashima, nashama. Breath for the soul, breath of the soul. Good. And then slowly making your way back to your belly. Take your time. Right. Restful time. And then bringing the hands underneath the shoulders, push yourself back up. And then come back to a seated position. Back to a seated position. Good. Right here, I'm going to ask you to bring your hands onto your knees. You can choose to have the palms down or the palms upward. We're going to take one more sequence on our back in a few minutes, but before so, I would like to do a little guided meditation. So find yourself in a comfortable seat. If you need to sit on a blanket, a towel, or a pillow, or a bolster, or even a block to elevate the hips, that's a really nice option. And I like to have my palms upward to receive, but if you feel like you need to be grounded, you can turn those palms down. Right. Relax the shoulders, close the eyes, soften the muscles of the face. Right. What does rest mean to you? Do you feel guilty or uncomfortable if you're not busy? Right? If you're sitting around and doing nothing, does it mean you're lazy? Or does it mean you're actually productive for your soul? We have this opportunity to flip the script, right? Change how we think or feel about a particular subject. So I know that stillness is rest for the mind, as well as it's rest for the body. So just watch that breath coming in through your nose, and it follows this pathway, right? So as it goes in through the nostrils, it bastes up in the sinuses and it goes back down the throat and down into the lungs. And when it comes out, it actually rises back up out of the lungs. It passes up through the throat, past the sinus, back down the nostrils, and back out. We're just going to take a few more moments watching the breath, like almost like the shape of a cane, right? Think of a rounded cane shape in through the nose, basting and curving up at the sinus, down the throat, into the lungs. Back up and out, passing again through that little cane arch and exiting out the nostrils. Beautiful connection to your breathing, to this present moment, to acknowledging the gift of being given permission to rest. Give yourself permission. One more cycle. Baste yourself with breath in through the nostrils, arching on the cane, back down the throat into the lungs. Exhaling up the throat and back down and out the nose. Turn the palms to face downward. Uncross those legs and slowly, slowly roll yourself down onto your back. Hug your knees into your chest. All right, take your time getting there. All right, hold one hand on each knee. And let's just start to circle the knees and the hips, right? So one hand on each knee, push those legs forward, bring those knees out wide, and then draw them back toward the body and in closer again. Push them forward, breathe in, out wide, and exhale as you pull them closer. So take that, maybe circle 2 or 3 times. And then switch the direction while they're in toward the body, right? Push them out and away, forward, back together, and center. So you go in both directions. Good. And then come to neutral. And place your left foot down on the floor. Cross your right leg over your left. Open your arms out like wings. Take a nice breath in. As you exhale, let those knees relax over to the left. Turn your head to the right. All right, so this is a cross-legged twist. If you feel like it's too intense, you could always uncross the legs and just keep a stacked knee, right? So choose what feels good for you. Just take a breath or 2 here. Simple and sweet. Let your in-breath bring you back to center and switch the cross of the legs. Now left over right, big breath in. Exhale, knees relax to the right, head turns to the left, arms are still open and spacious. Just a breath or 2 here. And inhale back to center, uncross the legs. One more opportunity to lift knees up to the chest. Make your knees really wide this time and see if you can bring the soles of your feet up toward the ceiling. Slide the hands toward the outer edges of the feet. Now, this is called Happy Baby. If this is not available for you, you can always hold on to the calves, right? Or the ankles or the shins here. That would be an option. If you can go deeper, hold on to outer edges. You can even hold inner arches. Yeah. And so lengthen the tailbone, lengthen the back of the neck. And just play here. Rock a little side to side. Right. Playful, enjoyable action. And then slowly find the center and release the hands. Bring those legs closer together again. Place the feet down on the floor. Let's just reset those hips. Bring the heels as close as you can to the tush. Maybe the fingertips can brush those heels. Push down into the feet. Inhale, lift your hips up. Good. Nice. Reset the hips. Just squeeze. Feel your own strength here. One more breath in. And exhale, lower, lower, lower. Good. Extend your legs down your mat. Make your feet a little bit wider than your hips. Now turn the palms to face upward and separate those feet, those hands a little bit away from the body. I want you to squeeze your right toes, curl your right toes, activate your right leg, make a fist in your right arm, squeeze the whole right side of your body, big, big, big squeeze, and exhale, surrender and let it go. Do the same thing on your left. Squeeze your left toe, squeeze your left leg, squeeze your left fist, squeeze your left arm, squeeze, squeeze, squeeze that whole left side of your body, and exhale, let it go. Whew, good. Now both sides, squeeze your toes, Squeeze your legs, squeeze your tush, squeeze your arms, squeeze the side ribs, squeeze the shoulders, even grimace the face, squeeze, squeeze, squeeze. And let everything go. Let everything go. So hold here, stillness, right? Surrender. This process of letting go is the rest of yoga. So we call this Shavasana. Shavasana. So Shabbat, the rest of the commandments of Torah. Shavasana, the rest of the practice of yoga. Well, the literal meaning of those words are not the same. The soothing sound of Shabbat and Shavasana, right? They have this soothing sh sound, sort of like what a mother would say to a baby when a mother's trying to soothe. It's like, shh, baby, everything is okay. Just rest now. So we're going to spend just about 2 minutes or so watching your body rest, right? So we watch from the inside. The eyes are closed, but the mind is alert. The body is resting. The mind is just observing, right? So you watch your own body breathe, not trying to control the breath, but seeing if on every exhalation, you could surrender even more. Right? Like the inhale has absolutely no effort, but it's there. And the exhale starts to let you spread and melt even more. And so for some of us, this practice of resting in Shavasana or meditating, some of us find it actually way more challenging than any really hard or difficult physical pose. Right? So if that's you, just know that do the best you can. This is about being present to knowing what is in this very moment. And that perhaps this great pause can be viewed as not something that is a punishment of sorts, or something that is so frustrating, but maybe it could be viewed as a gift for us to remember to rest. Learning to take time for yourself might be something you need to work on. So contemplate here, how can you create more energy of rest? How can you prioritize this ability to rest? And then slowly start to increase your breathing. On your next exhalation, wiggle your fingers and wiggle your toes. And then bend your knees, bring your feet to the floor. Rock yourself into a fetal position. Just rock onto the side, body. Pause there for a moment of transition. One sweet breath here. And then bring yourself back to a seated position, like where you began, or one that feels most comfortable for you. Good. And I invite you to bring your hands to your heart center. I am going to unmute us. We only have about another minute or so, but I want to unmute us so that we have the opportunity to really hear each other. So hands at heart center, Om Shanti, 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 which in Sanskrit means peace, peace, peace. And Shalom, 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 which in Hebrew, of course, also means peace, peace, peace. So may this practice always be a source of peace for you, a place where you can learn and you can breathe and you can move and stretch and strengthen and practice presence and remember to rest. So Shabbat Shalom to all of you beautiful souls, Nashama, Nashima, to breathe in the soul, right? May you have a beautiful Shabbat, a restful Shabbat. May you be healthy and happy and well. Namaste and Shabbat Shalom.
Namaste.
Namaste.
Thank you.
Thank
you,
you.
Amy.
Thank you. Thank you all for being here. So just know, I know they might boot us off in a second, but just know that we will be meeting again this time next week. And I so look forward to seeing you all again. Mwah. Until next time.
Thank you, Amy.
Thank you, Amy.
Thank you,
Reach out to me
Amy.
privately, by the way, because I know we have such a finite amount of time. If anyone wants a question or anything, you can reach out to me privately. Mwah.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye.
Thank you. Hi,
Thank
Rabbi.
you.
Thank you.
Hi, Rabbi. Hi, Betsy.
Hi, how
Thank
are
you,
you?
Amy.
Good. How are you?
Thank you, everyone. Mhm.